Welcome back to Worth Coin. Today, we're diving into the top 4 most valuable Roosevelt dimes and the fascinating history behind them. Don't blink. You might have one of these in your pocket change. First up, the 1965 Roosevelt dime holds a special place in U.S. coinage history, as it marked a major transition from silver to clad coinage. Prior to 1965, Roosevelt dimes were composed of 90% silver and 10% copper. However, due to rising silver prices and a national coin shortage in the early 1960s, the U.S. Mint made the decision to remove silver from circulating dimes. Starting in 1965, Roosevelt dimes were struck using a copper-nickel-clad composition, consisting of an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a pure copper core. This shift was not only economical, but also a pivotal moment in modern American numismatics. The 1965 dime was produced at the Philadelphia Mint, but unlike earlier issues, it does not carry a mint mark. This was intentional. From 1965 through 1967, the U.S. Mint removed mint marks from all coins in order to discourage coin collecting during the national coin shortage. As a result, even though all 1965 Roosevelt dimes were struck in Philadelphia, there's no P or any other mint mark on them. Over 1.65 billion of these dimes were minted, making it one of the most common dimes ever produced. This large mintage means that, under normal circumstances, circulated 1965 dimes are worth only face value, 10 cents. However, uncirculated or high-grade examples of the 1965 Roosevelt dime can command higher prices, especially those that grade MS 66 or above. In mint condition, particularly with full bands on the torch on the reverse, a sign of a strong strike, values can range from a few dollars to over $100, depending on eye appeal and rarity in that grade. Collectors seek out full torch or full band dimes as a sign of quality. The highest known grade for a 1965 Roosevelt dime is MS 68, and examples in this grade can fetch several $100s at auction, particularly if certified by reputable grading companies like PCGS or NGC. There are also a few special varieties and errors associated with the 1965 Roosevelt dime. One of the most famous is the rare 1965 Roosevelt dime struck on a silver plancher. These are transitional errors caused when leftover silver blanks from 1964 were accidentally used in 1965. These error dimes contain 90% silver and weigh about 2.5 grams, compared to the standard 2.27 grams of a clad dime. A simple weight test using a precise scale can often help identify one. These silver 1965 dimes are highly valuable, often selling for thousands of dollars depending on condition. Another notable error is the off-center strike, which is collectible but less rare, and prices vary depending on the degree of the off-center and whether the date is still visible. Next up, the 1992 D. Roosevelt dime is a modern U.S. coin struck at the Denver Mint and is part of the long-running Roosevelt dime series that began in 1946. This series honors President Franklin D. Roosevelt, whose leadership during the Great Depression and World War II, along with his role in founding the March of Dimes to combat polio, made him a national figure deserving of this tribute. The obverse of the coin features a left-facing portrait of Roosevelt, designed by John R. Sinek, with the inscriptions, "Liberty, in God we trust," the date 1992, and the mint mark D to the right of the neck, identifying the Denver Mint. The reverse of the coin features a torch in the center flanked by an olive branch on the left and an oak branch on the right, symbolizing liberty, peace, and strength, respectively, along with the inscriptions United States of America, E Pluribus Unum, and One Dime. By 1992, Roosevelt dimes had long been struck using a copper-nickel-clad composition. This change was implemented in 1965 due to the rising cost of silver. As such, the 1992 D. Roosevelt dime contains an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel, bonded to a pure copper core, and weighs 2.27 grams. It has a diameter of 17.91 millimeters and a reeded edge. The Denver Mint produced a total of 546,810,000 Roosevelt dimes in 1992, making the 1992 D issue very common in circulation. Because of its high mintage and modern status, circulated examples of the 1992 D dime are typically worth only face value, 10 cents. However, for collectors, condition matters greatly. Uncirculated examples or those in mint state can be worth more. Coins graded MS-65 to MS-67 typically sell for a few dollars, while those graded MS-68, or with full bands, FB, a designation that indicates strong strike quality on the reverse torch, can command higher prices. A 1992 D. Roosevelt dime graded MS-68 with full bands can be worth anywhere from $75 to over $200, though such high-grade coins are rare and must be certified by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC to reach these values. The full bands designation is particularly desirable to collectors because it shows that the coin was well struck, with distinct horizontal lines across the torch's bands, which is uncommon on many dimes due to weak strikes. Next up, the 1983 D. Roosevelt dime is a modern U.S. coin that was minted at the Denver Mint and forms part of the Roosevelt dime series, which began in 1946. The series was created to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt, who led the United States through the Great Depression and most of World War II. Roosevelt was also a central figure in the fight against polio, having founded the March of Dimes campaign, an effort that ultimately led to the choice of his image on the dime. The coin's obverse, designed by John R. Sinek, features a left-facing portrait of Roosevelt, along with the inscriptions Liberty, In God We Trust, the date 1983, and the mint mark D, which indicates that it was struck at the Denver Mint. The reverse of the coin carries a torch symbolizing liberty, flanked by an olive branch on the left and an oak branch on the right, representing peace and strength. Surrounding these symbols are the inscriptions United States of America, A Pluribus Unum, and One Dime. The 1983 D. Roosevelt dime is made of a copper-nickel-clad composition, which had been standard since 1965. This composition consists of an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a pure copper core. The coin weighs 2.27 grams, has a diameter of 17.91 millimeters, and a reeded edge. It is not a silver coin and contains no precious metals. In 1983, the Denver Mint struck approximately 536,420,000 Roosevelt dimes, making the coin widely available and common in circulation. Because of this high mintage, circulated examples typically carry no premium and are worth face value, 10 cents. Despite its overall abundance, 1983-D Roosevelt dimes can be worth more in higher grades, especially for collectors focused on condition. In uncirculated, mint state condition, the coin becomes more desirable. Mint state coins graded MS-65 to MS-67 are relatively accessible and usually sell for around $2 to $10, depending on quality. However, coins that grade MS-68 or better, especially those with the full bands, FB designation, can command significantly higher prices. The full bands designation refers to sharply defined and fully separated horizontal bands on the torch on the reverse, which indicates a strong and detailed strike. While rare, an MS-68 full bands 1983-D Roosevelt dime can be worth $200 or more at auction, depending on demand and population reports from grading companies like PCGS or NGC. Next up, the 1978-D Roosevelt dime is a copper nickel-clad coin struck at the Denver Mint and is part of the long-running Roosevelt dime series, which began in 1946. The series honors President Franklin D. Roosevelt, whose leadership during the Great Depression and World War II, as well as his founding of the March of Dimes campaign to combat polio, led to his image being chosen for the dime. The obverse of the 1978 D dime was designed by John R. Sinek and features a left-facing portrait of Roosevelt, along with the inscriptions, "Liberty, In God We Trust," the date 1978, and the D mint mark to the right of the neck, indicating it was minted in Denver. The reverse features a torch in the center, symbolizing liberty, flanked by an olive branch on the left, representing peace, and an oak branch on the right, symbolizing strength and independence. The inscriptions United States of America, E Pluribus Unum, and One Dime are also found on the reverse. The 1978 D Roosevelt dime is made from a copper-nickel-clad composition, which became standard in 1965 when the U.S. Mint removed silver from circulating dimes. This clad structure includes an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel, bonded to a pure copper core. It weighs approximately 2.27 grams and has a diameter of 17.91 millimeters with a reeded edge. Because it contains no silver or precious metals, its intrinsic value is low. In 1978, the Denver Mint produced a high number of these coins, approximately 390,354,000 dimes. Due to this massive mintage, the 1978 D dime is extremely common in circulation. In circulated or no-fine condition, which generally means the coin has visible wear, soft details, and lacks mint luster, its value is typically only face value, or 10 cents. Even in better circulated grades, the coin does not carry any significant premium because of its abundance.